Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Verenia, and in today's video we are going to be having a look at how we did in our February budget. So usually at the start of the month we will set the budget up for the following month, and then at the end of the month we will track our expenses and see how we did with our spending. So without further ado, let's just get started and see how we did in the month of February. So let's have a look at what happened in the month of February. We actually have our monthly budget template, and remember, this is something that you can also access if you like the look of it and if you are interested. It comes with a net worth statement, a sinking funds calculator, plus you have the choice between choosing a monthly budget template or a weekly budget template depending on how you get paid. So if you are interested, then definitely check out the links in the description below. But for us, we tend to use the monthly budget template, so let's have a look and see how we did. Now I just want to do a quick run through in terms of the income, savings and essential bills, just because I talk about this in a lot more detail when we actually set the budget. So if you didn't check out our video when we actually set the budget for February, you can of course check that out. I will link that up here for you and in the description below. But as you may remember, we did have some money left over from the previous month, so we had about £25 left over, which we could then use to spend for the next month. And then of course we had our total income. As a reminder, we mainly get paid through my husband's job, so his 9-to-5 job, just because I have decided to take a year out to rest, which is great. But I do tend to take some money out of my business, although it's not very much, because most of the money I make, I'm reinvesting it, as many of you will know. So in terms of the total income, that was all good. Then we move over to savings and investments. Again, as a reminder, what we have currently been doing is, when it comes to my business, I have been investing quite a lot in coaching programs, but we also try to invest into my husband's stocks and shares ISA as well, so that was about 50. So as I mentioned before, in terms of me investing in coaching programs, I'm really trying to just invest as much as possible over the next couple of months so I can just get that all paid out, and then after that we can then start to focus on other things like investing in the stock market, for example. So looking forward to that and glad that was all done and dusted. And then next up, when it comes to essential bills, of course all of that was paid out. I don't want to talk about all of our essential bills because I tend to do that at the beginning of the month anyway, but apart from that, pretty much everything got paid out because they are essential, so they need to get paid out. And we also paid out our giving as well, because again, that's very, very important to us, because we don't necessarily see the money as ours, we kind of see it as God's money and we're just stewards of it. So of course that is something that we take into consideration all the time. And then next up, in terms of sinking funds, so this is something we hadn't necessarily paid out just because we did have quite a lot of sinking funds. So what sinking funds are just basically expenses that you will save up for over time. However, myself and Yinka, who is my husband, we were really discussing, because we realized that actually there are going to be some more sinking funds that we're going to need to prepare for, because some of our other sinking funds, we're probably going to start using them. Now, if you want to learn more about how you can actually save money for sinking funds and what are the steps you should be taking when it comes to managing your money in general, then definitely check out my free money management guide, because what I do is essentially talk through the steps that I took to not only start managing my money better, but also investing my money as well. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already. I will of course link that up here for you and in the description below. And so what that means is that we really need to start thinking about pre-planning those expenses, because that's something that just makes life a lot easier for us, and it's something I definitely recommend and like to talk about in my videos many times. But going forwards in our budget, you will start to see some sinking funds, so I'm looking forward to showing you guys that. And if you're liking this video so far, then feel free to give me a thumbs up, as it really does help to support the channel. Plus, I'm sure you know, it's free. And then next up, let's move over to spending. And I'm so sorry because the lighting just isn't amazing at the moment, because the sun keeps coming out at random times. However, I do want to make sure that this budget video is up. So when it comes to spending, in terms of our petrol, we originally had a budget for £120 and we ended up spending £114. So we were under budget for our petrol, which was great. I mean, we have started to see that petrol prices have been increasing again, so whether we'll be under next month, not too sure, but we'll see. And we're still kind of deliberating how much we want to set for petrol next month as well. Honestly, I'm just a bit lost with petrol. It's just something that I can't be bothered anymore, because every time it's either we go under or over. So what will be, it's fine. I'm glad we went under this month, but 114, not bad. And then when it came to groceries, we had also budgeted 139 for that, and we ended up spending 139 for groceries. So that was all good. And remember, I do actually have a Aldi grocery haul as well that I filmed a few weeks ago, I think, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. I will link it up here for you and in the description below. But I'm happy in terms of groceries we were able to stick to that, so that was all good. Then when it came to toiletries, so toiletries, we originally budgeted £30 for it. We did slightly go over, so we went over by £3 and we ended up spending £33 for toiletries, so not too bad considering actually how much we bought. And there were quite a few things that had actually finished this month that we had to buy, so I'm not too surprised that we ended up going over. Then when it came to our individual spending, as I mentioned, we don't tend to talk about how much we've spent in our individual spending very much, so I'm not sure how Yinka did with his, but in terms of my own spending, I pretty much spent the whole thing. I mean, I think I had about £2.50 left, so for me, I had a good month. Went out with my friends and we also had friends come over as well, which is nice. So if you're ever looking for like maybe a cheaper alternative, I find that when you have friends coming over, it's so much more cheaper if you realize that you don't have too much money to spend, because really all we did is just buy a few drinks, and also I made food as well, and that was pretty much the day, and we had a really nice time. So if you're ever trying to look for alternatives, then definitely doing things at home like games night and stuff like that can really help. But I actually did both this month, so I went out with my friends and we also had friends coming over as well, so you can sometimes do both if you've got the money for it. And then next up, let's talk about date night. So in terms of date night, we budgeted £60 this month because we didn't really think we'd be leaving the house very often, because that tends to happen all the time, and that did happen again this month. So this month we ended up spending £53. Now in terms of next month's budget, I think we will actually increase it back to 70 because I really want to go out, so hopefully I'm looking forward to doing that next month. But this month we ended up spending 53, which wasn't bad. And then when it came to personal care, we spent the whole 40, and then when it came to miscellaneous, we budgeted 20 for that. And I remember making sure that I budgeted for miscellaneous this time, because last time I didn't, and we ended up spending money in miscellaneous. And what I mean by that is just any general spending that we haven't accounted for, we pretty much just allocate that for miscellaneous. So for us, it's actually quite important to have one, because not all our spending tends to go to plan, so it's good to actually have that in our budget. So we did budget £20 for miscellaneous and we ended up spending £19, so £1 less than we budgeted for. And actually included in that was my gym membership, so let me explain why. Now in terms of my gym membership, some of you may know that I was actually paying annually, so that's why you would never see our gym membership on the budget, because we also did the same for my husband as well. However, this month is when my gym membership actually finished, but they were no longer doing annual memberships anymore, so I couldn't pay yearly, so all you could do is pay monthly. And so I was actually deliberating whether I would still want to continue doing that, or if I would want to do workouts from home. I realized that as much as I would try to do workouts at home, it's not going to happen. So I decided, okay, I'm going to look out and see if there are any good monthly memberships, and realized that if I got an off-peak gym membership, it's actually going to be a lot cheaper because it's during off-peak hours. And for me, I don't tend to go to the gym during peak hours anyway, because I don't have to. And so when I actually then rejoined, they were doing a discount where I didn't have to pay any joining fee, and plus for this month they were actually only doing it for £11. So I only had to pay £11 for this month, and then going forwards I think it's going to be £21.99. so you will start to see that in our budget going forwards. But we actually put that in miscellaneous just because I didn't realize that I was actually going to join the gym membership, but now I have. It's now going to be put as gym on our budget going forward, so hopefully that makes sense. But again, as I've mentioned before, sometimes when you find alternatives, you can still get good value and still have the quality that you have. So I can still go to the gym, but at a fraction of the cost. So make sure you're always looking for alternatives if you're looking to try and save money. And then of course, when it comes to pennies, that was pretty much paid out when we actually set our budget anyway. So you can see that we just had over about £10 left over to budget. So we do have a few days until payday, so I'm not sure if we will use it or if we might carry it on to the next month. There's nothing else we really need to buy for the rest of the month until the next payday, so we'll see. But in terms of our overall spending, it was just under $600 that we ended up doing, which is around $816, so not bad for this month. And if you've maybe been struggling with actually sticking to your budget, or even being able to really know your numbers so that you can set a budget that works for you, if that's something that you really want to work on and you might like my support with that, then definitely check out my one-to-one coaching program, because essentially what I do is not only teach you how to actually budget your money and stick to it, but I can also help you reach your savings goals, as well as giving you the step-by-step guidance to really start investing your money so that you can start working towards financial independence as well. So make sure you check that out if you haven't already. You can book a free interest call with me, so I'll link more information up here for you and in the description below. So if you did like this video, then please do give me a thumbs up if you you haven't already, and let me know in the comments, how did your budget go for the month of February? I do post every Tuesday and Friday, so if you would like to know more, then of course you can subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys on Friday.